Across the capital, hundreds of officers have been mobilised. This is the biggest ever operation against the scourge of shoplifting. Shockingly, those they're after today are other retailers, small independent businesses fueling crime against major store chains by purchasing and reselling stolen goods. This business in southeast London is suspected of being part of that illegal trade.
All of these goods are going somewhere, so all of the things that these prolific offenders are stealing en masse are not just vanishing into thin air. So that is where we started to work on our intelligence and improving our intelligence gathering capabilities, and that is what led to this pattern that we're seeing very regularly, where large multiple supermarket chains are being stolen from en masse, and that those goods are appearing in very nearby smaller independent stores.
Get down! Floor. Yeah? Okay. But you're under arrest, okay, for shoplifting. You don't say anything.
So often in recent years, shoplifting has been a low priority for many forces. But having reached epidemic levels, with retailers pointing to roughly 6 million offences each year, authorities are devoting many more resources to fighting retail crime. Here they're using the latest in DNA markings to help officers identify stolen goods, using specially trained sniffer dogs and ultraviolet lamps.
Shop theft is something of a scourge, but obviously retailers need to do what they can to prevent it. So this is a product that acts as a deterrent to deter people away from stores. So yeah, its popularity is increasing.
Police have imposed a temporary closure of this shop while their searches continue. Now, if they find that this business has been dealing in stolen goods, then they'll apply to the courts for a more permanent closure of the shop.
No, we've got a warrant here to search his property.
Police say the vast majority of the crime that blights so many high streets is committed by a relatively small number of prolific offenders who, for the most part, are addicted to drugs and alcohol. They're now being targeted by specialist police teams, but so too are the unscrupulous shop owners who are exacerbating the surge in crime against their own neighbours by selling on those stolen goods. Mark White, GB News.
Have you had a random call lately from a strange number, maybe trying to sell you something or even scam you? If so, your info could be out there. That's because of data brokers, shady companies that scrape the internet for your personal details and sell them to marketers or even scammers. These days, scammers can even use AI to mimic your friends' voices and trick you into sending money. It's not just annoying. Data brokers often target vulnerable people with high-interest loans or sketchy offers. But there is a solution. Incogni, the sponsor of this video. Incogni contacts data brokers on your behalf and requests your info be deleted from their databases. And because your data can keep popping up, Incogni keeps sending removal requests to make sure it stays gone. They've just launched a new unlimited plan with custom removals. If you find your info on a weird website, just send them the link and their privacy team will work to get it taken down. Getting started is easy. Hit the link in the description, create your account and let Incogni handle the rest. It's risk-free for 30 days and you'll get 60% off an annual plan with the code GBNews. Take back control of your data with Incogni.
Well, who else to speak to than our very own Mark White? The police certainly keen to tell the world they're doing more to stop this.
Yes, and understandably, because many people think the police are not as responsive to shoplifting as they should be. And that is true right across the country. This has been a low priority for many police forces for years, but it has reached epidemic proportions now. The last set of figures that came out, official reporting figures, so the number of retail outlets contacting the police, more than 500,000 last year reporting thefts. That is just a tiny proportion of the actual thefts, which are more than 6 or 7 million, the retail associations, various retail associations, say most outlets don't even report it because they know that the response from police, in past years has been woeful. The previous government and now this government say there is much more of an incentive for officers to go after those that are involved in this kind of activity. More resources have been put into that, and indeed they're changing the law. You remember previously, but still the law at the moment is going through Parliament under the crime bill, but if you had stolen items of £200 or less, you're unlikely to face a criminal charge. Well, that is being changed here, and it really is an issue that's blighting high streets right across the country. They reckon that there is a reasonably small cohort of only about 29,000 people across the whole country of 67, 68 million people who are regularly involved in shoplifting and carry out this activity, blighting these shops right across the country on a daily basis, and of course then selling it on, not just out in a pub as you would expect, the sort of traditional idea of what someone that's stolen some steaks from the supermarket does. They're handing them off to an increasing number of independent small retailers in high streets who are taking them, buying them and then reselling them.
It's about time the police really got involved in that. Are they going to reduce the paperwork and things like that? Because that was one of the reasons why the police really didn't want to get involved in this, because there's a massive paperwork when they arrested anybody.
Well, they've made the paperwork more efficient, but it's not been reduced. All they do is it's kind of carried out in electronic terms. Officers will often have mobile electronic devices where they'll record items, but, in terms of recording crime, it's still a cumbersome process.
I guess if you had an ID card, they'd scan the barcode and they've got everything.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing is as well, if you arrest someone, it can take that officer out of operation on that, the duty they're doing for the rest of their shift, because it takes hours and hours to process someone. So part of the reluctance in the past has been they are arresting someone for what was traditionally seen as a low-level crime worth only a few pounds, and then taking them to the police station. That officer is then tied up for the rest of the shift dealing with
What about the CPS? Are they going to address the Crown Prosecution Service then? Because once you've got this arrest thing going, then you've managed to process them. Now you have to get them...
You see, but that is another really good point, Nana, because yes, the government says that it wants to deal more robustly with those that are causing misery in the high street, but then you get it to the courts, and the courts are being told by the very same government, don't jail people if it's for a year or less, because our prisons are overcrowded.
OK, well...
Go figure.
Go figure indeed. Mark White, thank you indeed for bringing us all of that.